From the haters, got a nice ring to it. I guess every superhero need his theme music. No one man should have all that power. The clock's ticking, I just...
Welcome to Power Hour on DCU FM. It's every Friday night at 8 p.m. We have the most interesting people I can trick into coming on the show. Tonight we have Seán Connolly. You might know him on YouTube as the Sonic Screw. In the region of, what is it, 15,000 subscribers, something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Also, he works as a video producer for the Facts YouTube channel. You might have seen them. Everything from MMA fighters playing the new UFC game to my favorite one actually was personal trainers eating junk food. That had to be my favorite. Did I mess anything up there, Seán, or is that about right?
No, I think that is pretty spot on. Yeah. So I work for Irish YouTube channel Facts. I'm a video producer, which means my job essentially is I'm one of 6 who work in there, and we have to come up with crazy, silly ideas, plan them, film them, edit them, upload them, and it's I guess you'd call it the dream job.
It sounds like it anyway. Yeah. You seem like you're having fun.
Oh yeah, like literally the stuff. I think one of the videos going up tonight on the channel actually is we had something called surstrumming. Did you ever hear of that?
Never.
Surstrumming.
What is surstrumming?
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. So it's a Swedish delicacy whereby it's fish that is left to ferment for 6 months.
Oh God.
And then it's put in a tin, and I mean it's like essentially dead. I guess you could call it dead, but it is. I think it's listed as the worst, one of the worst smelling things in the world. Like they don't allow it on airplanes. It's genuinely illegal. But we had it in studio. I think we had about. I didn't film the video. I was actually off that day. Thank God. But we had about 6 or 7 of the regular contributors in the studio, and just the stories from it. They said like the entire office was stinking of like rotten dead fish. It was horrendous, and yeah, they all almost got sick, and yeah, I guess that was our fun little internet video that we.
And that's that hard Friday before you get your weekend.
That's
a tough Friday, yeah.
It's a tough old Friday when you're smelling a dead rotten fish walking out of the office.
Oh God, yeah. So I think it almost half answers my question, but first question I have is, what is it actually like to work for a YouTube company as opposed to any other company, really? Is there, because it's all based on a third-party website and it is in the entertainment business, obviously, so it's really only as viable as the audience that you have. Is there any kind of anxiety there of falling out of popularity, or do you feel as comfortable as you're working for an RTE or a TV3 or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, YouTube's a funny one, I guess, because it's a website and it is constantly changing, and stuff is always going on in the background of it, so it's never as certain, I guess, as something like broadcast media or traditional media. But yeah, it's one of those things where personally I wouldn't be too kind of like anxious or upset about it, because I think especially because our channel is doing so well.
Exploding at the minute. Actually, did really, really well the past couple of months. I was just having a look.
I joined, so I started working there. I'm just over a year now, so I started working there last year, and I think the channel had about 400,000 subscribers at the time.
That's great.
And I think we're gonna hit 1 million.
They're 950,000 or something like that.
Yeah, it's really crazy, and it's I mean it's a good point, kind of like working for YouTube and working for different kind of online spaces. And I guess the main thing that a lot of companies like us do and others would do is it's kind of making sure that the only, I guess, source of revenue and business isn't through YouTube. It's kind of through online in general.
Yeah, I get you.
Kind of like spreading out through different circles and different things.
Well, actually, this question is a little bit further down the list, but it's something I definitely like to ask. How many employees work at Facts roughly? You don't have to give me an exact number.
Yeah, no. So there's 6 of us are video producers, and then we have a senior video producer, and then a production manager. And then we're kind of tied to it's a multi-channel network called Creative Nation.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Yeah. So they're kind of we have the same office, so they do their own thing, and then Facts kind of grew out of that as its own channel. And, it's gotten to the size where it's kind of we all work for it now.
That it's supporting, what did you say, 8 employees?
Yeah, about that.
Well, I suppose that's my real question is, how is a YouTube channel it seems crazy to me that a YouTube channel that has just shy of 1 million subscribers can somehow support 8 people's full-time jobs.
Yeah, you see, I mean, I guess it's you'd have to compare, I suppose, the subscribers and the views and all that kind of thing. Facts, because of the nature of it, it's kind of like really handy, really easily digestible content, and just kind of like, you throw on a video and you can just let them play through a few.
Yeah.
Because of that, I think our views are extremely good, I guess, for the size we'd be. Like,
what kind of ratio, say, subscribers to views are you getting? I know that's one of the metrics that channels are judged on.
That's a funny one, and I know it used to be better with it. See, like vloggers who might have a few million, you might kind of look at their videos, and some would be kind of, it'd fluctuate in the way, how regularly they get views. For us, I think we do fairly well. Generally, our videos will get around 200, 300k. And that's kind of a good.
That's pretty high. If anybody who's not familiar with YouTube, or really, a lot of people see YouTube still as, I think it's generally an older generation of cat videos and highlights and people falling over and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But
2007
YouTube basically. But recently, anyway, it's become people's livelihoods and people's incomes, and there's been everything from branded integration into YouTube to advertising on the videos to people making millions and millions of euros.
It's insane. Some of the American YouTubers, the stuff they make is like crazy. But I think YouTube itself, especially, so it's just over 10 years old now. And the way the algorithms and stuff work there used to be kind of based on views. Now it's based on watch time. So now
interesting. Okay.
So now your channel and you are more rewarded by YouTube if you have a better watch time. So that what the watch time means basically is if someone clicks on your video and stays, like, watches a few different of your videos, that's your total watch time that they've got. So it's not just the number of views anymore.
Interesting.
So if you can keep someone on YouTube, on your channel, flicking through a bunch of videos, the algorithm, the way YouTube's algorithm works is it'll throw you up in the search results.
Because your video is obviously of a quality. That's actually nice because...
and that's why you'll see a lot more long-form content working on YouTube now. Like, you have the 20, 30-minute vlogs or
yeah, actually, I think it used to be anyway, back... or seemingly enough, it used to be that a video had to be not much longer than a Vine.
Oh yeah. No,
or
3 or 4 minutes used to be like the key. That was the
3 or 4 minutes, and you're just printing money because it gets the most clicks or whatever.
Yeah.
That's interesting how it's gone from clicks, and I suppose that's really taken the power away from clickbait.
Oh yeah, huge. I mean, obviously that was one of the things that
they were trying to tackle.
I think the change was trying to tackle. Yeah. Now, I mean, as someone I work for Facts, but I also have my own personal YouTube channel, so it's kind of on the smaller end of the scale. But when that change happened, it did kind of affect a lot of like individual creators, because so like it used to be, you subscribe to someone, you'd be in their subscription box, they'd see a new video straight away. Now it's more the more activity you have in a video, or the watch time you get.
Well, I know whenever I log into YouTube, it doesn't bring me to, or I sign into my account, it brings me to home. And not subscribers. It's like, no, don't tell me what you think I should be watching. Just show me chronologically all the videos that were I'm subscribed to 4 people. I mean, just give me those videos.
This is the thing, and I mean, like, that's the home feed on YouTube and the recommended feed are the 2 main ones. That's if you go into the analytics, even on our channel or on any channel now, most of the views will come from the home feed or the recommended.
Not actually your subscribers.
Very, very few will come from people who click on subscriptions and watch the video from there. And that's kind of how YouTube has adapted, I suppose, moving forward. But it has to. It has to evolve in a way, especially with Facebook and Twitter video becoming
Facebook becoming huge, actually.
Oh, it's
absolutely massive.
Yeah, the Facebook YouTube wars.
Even let's not throw things like that around. Even especially on Facebook, certain the Key and Twomies of the world. What's Twomy?
I think it's
Twomy.
I think it's Toomey.
Whatever the hell. I don't mind.
Whatever the hell. I don't.
Whatever the hell. I've seen maybe 4 of those videos where he pretends to be his girlfriend. Not my cup of tea.
Comedy.
No, not my cup of tea is all I'm saying. No hate towards Key and whatever your second name is. My favorite one, what's his name? Is it Farmer Michael, and he's sitting in the car
Michael
chatting to his girlfriend Sheila or something like that.
Yes.
I don't care. It's stupid, and they're like a minute long, and it's Farmer Michael talking about ISIS or Farmer Michael talking about
sitting in his car,
sitting in his car in traffic, giving out about things.
Well, like Facebook, I think the way Facebook works as well, especially, is if you have like a really simple format that doesn't take, like, you couldn't upload say like a relatively
Casey Neistat
yeah,
video
you couldn't upload
is
that
not
to
making
Facebook,
it.
and that would not like get someone. Oh, I watch it straight. I mean, it would because it's Casey Neistat. But if anyone else did it, they wouldn't like.
Oh, a 10-minute video.
Yeah,
Let me digest
I'll
this.
just sit down and watch it on my Facebook home feed. Yeah, so it's just kind of there's different types of content that works for different types.
It's a different mode you're in going onto Facebook as well. You want to scroll past and see a 30-second Vine-esque type thing, or didn't Vine close down?
It did, yeah.
Yeah, Vine doesn't exist anymore.
Twitter got them and closed them down.
Yeah, Vine, if you're not familiar, when did that close? A couple of years ago now? It was
only a few months ago.
It was really?
Yeah.
It was still around.
Relatively recent.
Wow.
Yeah.
Basically,
Yeah,
it was just 6-second videos, and people... It was funny enough because people were getting such huge followings on Vine that if every third Vine of yours, you maybe took a big bite of a Snickers bar and you said, there you go, $4,000. Well done, Mr. Viner.
Well, that's where all the I guess the influencers and social online people make their money from. It's all
I was just about to ask. I saw your profile picture. Where's that Coors Light hookup?
Oh my god.
Where's the Coors Light hookup?
The Coors thing was gas. No, I went to what was it? It was some kind of event.
Those are professional headshots.
I was gonna say
with in Coors gear.
Yeah, I had to actually because there's about 3 to 4 different Coors logos, and I was like, I really like this picture, but I don't want to look like I'm advertising Coors every time I post everywhere. That was gas. It was just I think I just went to some event, and they were just like, let's take these crazy headshots where it looks like you're drinking in the snow. It's crazy. The man didn't actually talk.
It was the Jean-Claude Van Damme. Oh, I still like those Coors ads.
I tell you, this is it. But I need to stop.
I honestly thought you were sponsored by Coors, and I was like, well done, Sean. Look at you.
I'm like
bringing in that Anheuser-Busch money.
Like the terrible Irish version of Duffman. Ooh, Coors Light. Oh yeah.
My god. Brilliant, yeah. So look, while we're talking about YouTube and algorithms and the way things have changed, we'll talk a little bit more about internet-y type companies in a little bit. If you wouldn't mind. LGBT is hated by YouTube or something like that. Yeah. If all the BuzzFeed article headlines would have me believe.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah, so recently during the week, there is a setting on YouTube.
This has been in place for a while now, not just this week. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where YouTube has had a thing for a while, but just hasn't really said it until it's found out. It's a restricted mode, and I think the idea of it is that it's kind of more like it filters out, I guess, more mature content or sexualized content or cursing or whatever.
And is this different to the way content used to be age gated? The "Are you sure you're 18?" button?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's some. Like what I think it is it's obviously a method or a function on the YouTube app or the YouTube service in general that isn't quite working, and that's probably why they didn't announce it. But what it ended up doing recently, what was recently found out,
if it was enabled,
if it was enabled, because you have to go into your settings to enable it manually. But if it was enabled, like any mention of any LGBT stuff at all. So even if like it would have said gay or
in the title,
or lesbian or whatever trans in the title, it just outright wasn't able to be viewed. But it wasn't. It was primarily LGBT stuff that was the victim of it. But there was also any like some people who would do videos on mental health as well. Mental health issues would just get outright banned or taken away. And there didn't seem to be any kind of defined reason for it.
Yeah, it's not like, it was a couple of months ago now when YouTube came out with their new amended monetization plan.
Oh, yeah.
So you basically all of the fun videos you couldn't have. So if you were cursing or being if you were being derogatory towards anyone, if you were inciting anything, if you were basically discussing things that might hurt somebody's feelings, you couldn't be monetized. And that was something that was introduced, that was scrapped almost immediately, wasn't it, after backlash?
It actually, no, it's still there. It's so what the way it works was it had been there for months. They just hadn't been letting people know.
Okay.
So essentially you could have your video monetized, and it might have gone through this restriction or whatever, and it would have turned out to be not monetized, but they wouldn't have let people know.
Okay.
This was when they started letting people know, and a bunch of, like, obviously now it mainly affects the bigger YouTubers who are relying on YouTube for their
Yeah, okay, just monetizing for people that wouldn't be aware. Monetized makes money from it. If you are a YouTuber and you monetize something, it basically means that you're allowing ads to be run adjacent to the video. You know those skip 5-second ads. You've seen the Conor McGregor Budweiser ad for the millionth time.
Oh my God.
Every time that plays, maybe the guy's getting X amount of cents.
Yeah.
So what was happening is people's livelihoods were basically being shut off, and there was a freak out for a period of time. But that was something. So what you're saying is it was kind of introduced all of a sudden.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of it had been kind of. It was more kind of the nuances of YouTube's, I guess, AdWords program and how they worked with various advertisers and the different things they would allow ads to be on. I think there was a lot more subtleties in the explanation of it than eventually came out.
Yeah.
But it did kind of boil down to that they were like, yeah, we're not monetizing your video, but we're not really going to tell you. Oh wait, now we've told you. Sorry.
It was the problem. They weren't getting enough information, and they were losing the income.
Yeah.
So back to the LGBT controversy.
Yes.
I know I keep calling it that because that was the tagline.
Oh yeah, essentially. Yeah.
It wasn't that these Norwegian sex ed videos are being taken off YouTube.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about those.
Yeah. It's the stuff that was no hard. Like I think there was one that was just someone's like 8 LGBT people through history who have inspired me or something like that. Just some kind of like general
some nice, inclusive, lovely, progressive video.
Yeah, exactly. And inspiring to a lot of people, and I'm sure would have made a difference to a lot of people as well. But it was stuff like that would have been just banned outright with no explanation.
Well, not banned.
Not banned. Sorry, just
it would
like
if this restricted mode, which I think I saw, was it 1% of people, 1% of users,
1 or 1.5,
whatever it is, call it 2% for all I care, that were using this restricted service.
Yes,
they couldn't see these videos, and it brought up a really interesting point. And it kind of seemed I know I saw a lot of videos. Once I saw that this was even a news story, I went down the rabbit hole. And as you do on
as you have to
very, very dangerous activity to be doing on YouTube, certain days. The YouTube rabbit hole, if it's not JFK conspiracy videos, it's moon landing.
It's always that 9/11 was faked, and
because of that way that related videos works. But getting back to it, there was so many videos of what would you call them? Either LGBT community members or allies or one way or the other.
Yes.
Being absolutely outraged that YouTube even did this.
Yeah.
And I kind of came down on two different sides.
Okay.
I said, okay, well, it's discriminatory.
Yes.
To an extent, definitely. But at the same time, it's a bit like whenever you see, you used to see signs, very, very seldom anymore. You used to see signs on every business ever was, management reserves the right to refuse admission.
Yeah.
It's YouTube's website. It's their property, really.
Yeah.
They can do what they want with it. I was just wondering what are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I mean that's kind of it's an interesting comparison, but I don't think it holds up hugely because the way like businesses work, it's kind of like they want people to work for a certain way for them, and maybe skills and stuff is involved. Whereas YouTube's grown to be more than just a website, where it's essentially like a platform, like TV or radio.
Okay.
But also when they came out and said what was wrong, they apologized, and they were like, "Oh yeah, okay, you're totally right." And it didn't just fall over the LGBT stuff. It was everything that shouldn't have been restricted, like as I mentioned, the mental health stuff and all that kind of thing. So I think it was I don't think the restricted mode, however it was implemented, had obviously meant to have that effect.
Well, it was done pretty terribly.
Oh yeah, it was atrocious.
Let's not give YouTube even a little bit of credit for trying to protect kids.
It was terrible. Yeah. No, but what confuses me as well is there's a YouTube Kids app.
Oh, there is actually, yeah.
YouTube Kids app. So that's why I'm kind of like, why are you trying to? What's the point of this restricted mode anyway?
Yeah, even if you go to YouTube Kids, or if you go to kids.youtube.com or something like that, you get to the same kind of application as well.
Yeah, and you can. So it's on the website. It's an app itself. So like, are they trying to make it like a PG version of YouTube? Is that like it doesn't really make any sense to me, because you already have this Kids app. And everything
people or YouTube maybe, I don't know which side was trying to justify it,
Yeesh.
They were making the point either way that it's perhaps for schools or something like that, where you don't really want to quite enable kids mode because that's selling them a little bit short.
Yeah.
But you don't really want them accessing. See, the problem with YouTube is you can't have anything obscene on there anyway.
That's another point I was going to bring up, is that like the automatic
filtering,
like it'll get rid of like porn and
pornography is
crazy
nuked
like,
off YouTube. Yeah,
like obviously opinions from whatever side of the spectrum of opinion you fall on.
Yeah.
I guess YouTube allows everything like that, but it was a weird one that I don't know. Yeah. I just think it was a terribly implemented thing.
It was a bit like all the things that YouTube does. It was terribly implemented, and they didn't really explain why.
yeah.
Speaking, you just mentioned kids mode on YouTube, and this is totally sidetracked altogether. But
Okay.
have you seen some of? There are certain YouTube channels, and I don't really have any offhand, but certain YouTube channels, and they have millions of subscribers, 8, 9, 10 millions of subscribers, and all they do is show kids toys.
Yeah.
These adult okay, now this maybe it's generalization, but these adult women, generally women who are absolutely beautiful. These are some of the best looking women you'll ever find ever.
How is a Donald Trump
Do you know what? Absolutely beautiful. Everybody knows on this show that I love a bit of Donald sometimes.
The Don stuff.
But it's these women playing with children's toys and kind of selling it up, and these videos are getting millions of views. And not only are they getting millions and millions of views, but they're just advertisements. It's like, this is the Bob the Builder Play-Doh set. There's an ad on the side for the Bob the Builder Play-Doh set. What do you think they're going to click immediately after that video? And they're making thousands.
I think one of the biggest YouTube channels, I know PewDiePie is the biggest channel, but I think in terms of the biggest one that gets the most views, I think it's like a kids reviewing channel. Again, like that, I think it's actual kids who review the toys. But I mean, I can see why those type of channels would be so big, because how big YouTube is now, and because it's so easily accessible on phones and tablets and laptops and everything. Parents with kids are just going to be like, here, just watch YouTube. Just let them away.
Here's the iPad. It's in a lovely kids case. Go watch the women play with toys. That's all you want.
Exactly. And like, you will have kids who will just sit down and press
the colorful button.
Watch the ads for toys they like and all that kind of stuff. So like, it's kind of like a I'd say like a young kid is almost like a YouTube view generator machine. Like,
actually,
just give it a tablet and just sit it in a corner, and you're just kind of like ding 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 ding.
Well, it's a bit like, you could almost draw a parallel to why Pixar or any corporation at all makes movies for kids. Because if little Johnny, who's 8 years old, wants to go see the new Toy Story movie, you can't send little Johnny to the cinema on his own. I mean, Mommy has to come with him, or Daddy has to come with her, or the big brother, or the big sister. So you're already getting 2 tickets. He might even power a pester power. He might have the whole family come down to watch this movie.
Jeez, little Johnny sounds very persuasive.
Little Johnny's very persuasive.
Little Johnny would want to get his act together.
Oh God. Okay, so we chatted a little bit about. We got lost in the weeds there, but it's fine.
We did.
It's fine. Doesn't matter. It's a long hour. We chatted a little bit about the Facts YouTube channel, and really interesting to see. I kind of chatted about this a little bit before the show, that I kind of have 2 eras of YouTube in my head.
Yes.
There is the PewDiePie, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
Kind of, I'm going to call him Felix, the pre-Felix version of YouTube, where it was really this kind of between 2008 and 2012. There was, this kind of 20, 30, maybe it was in the hundreds of popular kind of YouTubers who were making their living. Yep. It'd be the Jenna Marbles, the Ray William Johnsons, the Philip DeFranco's been around forever.
Yeah, he's one of my original. Like, I think he's one of the first I started watching, and I still watch him to this day.
Well, he was still Sexy Phil, or
Sexy Phil.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's mad. I went to see him actually when he came to Dublin.
Oh, DeFranco does Dublin. God,
yeah,
I was maybe 12 years old.
Oh my God,
maybe.
Oh, I'm so old. Yeah, no, that was amazing. It was fantastic. I actually bumped into into him on the street the day before.
Oh, that's brilliant.
He's just like,
hey, that's way better than meeting him at the event.
right?
Way better.
I like it. So I think it's one of the proper only ever like fanboy moments I ever had. I was like, oh my god, is your picture? And he was there with his I think his friends who also worked on the channel I knew from the YouTube. And I was like, oh, I know you too. And I was trying to be like nervous, like, I'm just gonna make a joke because I know. And they're like,
Oh, no.
who is this?
Yeah.
Just fucking get the picture and just leave.
So what you're saying is when you make it big, you won't be approaching Philly D for fear that he might remember.
Oh no, I'm gonna do it again. I'm like, oh, hello, Philip. Long time no see.
Oh god. Okay, train of thought derailed again, but it's fine. Okay, so
you're going about the 2 years.
yeah. Okay, so this kind of original YouTuber, it was people in the hundreds of subscribers, and back then, it seemed to be anyway that it was a lot easier to break in because there was. I don't want to say so few people on the platform. There were definitely less people on the platform.
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest thing on the platform at the time, and I think the biggest thing on YouTube at the minute still is it still gaming? Because of
Gaming
Felix?
was the bit. I'm not sure about right now. I think there might have been a slight tip in the favor of another genre, but gaming was for the longest time the biggest thing.
Yeah, it was when Modern Warfare 2 came out.
Yes.
Oh my god! People were printing money because it was actually one of the first times that people started making money off of YouTube was because of this game. But regardless, it was just slightly easier. It seemed because of the way. Look, if there's only 100 people to watch,
Yes.
and you want to watch 10 people a day, you're gonna have to pick some people. But now there is thousands and millions of channels on YouTube, and there is so much content, and there's so much good content as well, just
really
because there's so
high level of production.
excellent. Like every now and again, you'll stumble across a YouTube channel, much like your own, say, and it's got 50,000 subscribers, and you're like, there's serious production quality. Like this was what the multiple millions, the Philip DeFrancos and William Johnsons were making back then. It's you could see where it's going, where the evolution's going.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's kind of, I suppose, one part of that is that with YouTube getting so big in the past few years, you will have a lot of people who want to become YouTubers, and a lot of people who will invest at least a few grand in equipment before they even make their first video.
That's definitely interesting, because it used to be that it was whatever camcorder you could get your hand on. But what I really love, especially now, like what phone is this? I think the phone I'm holding in front of me now is an S6, X7.
I have an S7 as well.
Something like that. Incredible camera.
Yeah.
More than good enough. Honestly, if I take a video with that and I see what's on the professional, they are okay. Why am I air quoting? They are professional YouTubers. The quality, honestly, it's not that much different. Everybody has a camera that's very watchable nowadays.
It's insane. And I mean, like, the phone things are so the phone things, he said.
The phone thing.
The phone things.
Are we 80 years old?
think
Let's talk about the phone
Back
thing,
in
Sean.
my day, we had a phone thing.
There was a landline and there was a camcorder, and that was fucking it.
And you made your bed. Anyway, it's because, like, I mean, even look at Casey Neistat's videos. He has a great philosophy about the whole thing.
That's his second name drop. Go watch him, by the way. He's great.
Oh yeah, it's just go. Seriously, if I was to if I was to recommend anyone who doesn't watch YouTube videos,
Definitely watch his.
Watch his and watch Philip DeFranco.
Literally, just put the words Casey into Google, and I'm sure you'll find him.
Yeah, you'll probably have seen him before. But yeah, one of his philosophies is that I think the getting the shot you want, it takes precedence over like whatever gear you have.
So the equipment doesn't matter.
Yeah, so it's however you want to tell the story. So like if you can get the shot you want with a phone better than easier than you can with a whatever $3,000 camera, then do that instead. Which I think.
And it's just, I think that piece of advice is really telling of the environment. And again, this is a very roundabout way of getting back to the question. Was it's just kind of shocking to me that the level that it requires. Okay, first of all, would you say it requires a facts, like, if you don't know what we're talking about, it's the Facts YouTube channel, youtube.com/facts.
Yeah.
As it's spelled, no funny business. It is these very well edited, very well produced, very short videos, maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes. Maybe I think 7 minutes was on kind of the long side of stuff.
7 minutes, and it's so it'd be a lot. We got to get a lot of comments where people are like, "Is this not just BuzzFeed? Is this not just BuzzFeed?" It's a very similar kind of style that we have, but it's Irish people trying things. So Irish Irish people trying American food for the first time, or Irish people watching some show for the first time, or like trying different things. I think one of our biggest videos in the past few months was men get their back sack and crack waxed.
Oh god, hadn't seen that one.
It just went viral again. 2 million views. It's crazy the stuff that gets out there and gets popular. But it's just so much fun.
Well, would you say it requires that professional effort to make it? Because as you were saying, a lot of people will invest this 1, 2, 3 grand's worth of money into equipment.
Yeah.
Would you say that it requires that before you can even think about getting big? Let's say breaking 1 million is big.
Yes. I would say, God no. I would say the equipment and the level of production, I think, will always be secondary to the quality of the content.
Okay. Well, second to the quality of the content, fair enough. But what about somebody's level of enthusiasm? Is probably the wrong word, but their level of commitment and how serious they're taking what they're doing.
Yeah.
Has it translated into an atmosphere at the minute on YouTube that you have to take this incredibly serious? You can't do this in your spare time and still hit 1 million.
I think it definitely, you used to be able to do it in your spare time. I mean, again, in your spare time, it depends on how much work you put in your spare time. You know, you could, but nowadays with as you say, the level of quality in YouTube videos and everything, it does matter. But I mean, then again, you do have people who can be, say, one person who could set their phone down and just be, they could talk about something and they could be so into it and be able to, it's so amazing like that, and that could just go viral. I know that there's a vlogger I know I think it's the third.
That's a video blog for anybody that doesn't know. It's like Captain Kirk's Captain's Logs. Yeah, that's the best way I have of describing it.
That's such a, like, it's a slightly dated reference.
That's it. You know, I've mentioned Star Trek 4 weeks in a row. I got to keep it going.
Okay, well, once your listeners know
exactly.
Yes. So what was I talking about?
That somebody was somehow being captivating by literally just talking to a camera.
Yes. So he's a vlogger. The Third Pew is his channel. Nathan Zed. And he in the past few years he would have made a video maybe. I don't know. He used to be more regular, but then he kind of did one every few months, and he was so, the way he talks about something and the way he cuts it together and everything was just so engaging and so passionate about it, but also really entertaining. And again, he might have had a video every 2 or 3 months in the past 2 years, but just shoot straight up, like, you know. And it's the quality that'll get it shared.
What kind of numbers are we talking?
His videos would be getting upwards of 300-400k, I think, views.
That's incredible, really, and it really is just him. It's just him literally chatting in front of a camera.
Yeah, and I mean, like, obviously the video is well made, and
he's
good editing style and everything, but he's just a really engaging person.
For yourself, how difficult did you find it? I know I was checking out your stats.
Checking me stats.
You went from, I think, 2013 sometime you had 1,000?
Yeah.
You had about 1,000. I was looking you on archive.whatever.
Yes.
Archive.org, and there was a screenshot taken sometime in 2013. He had about 1,000, and I thought, okay. And then a year later, 2 years later, he had 8,000.
Yeah.
And then the year after that, it was like 14,000 or something.
Yeah. It's been pretty cool. I started my channel. It's just Seán Connolly now, but it was the Sonic Screw.
All the branding is still out. Is the Sonic
it's still
Screw,
the Sonic Screw. I'm looking to in the next few months kind of change it and move it over to like Seán C.
Okay, I get you.
Because I got the URL youtube.com/Seán C. So I'm like,
okay, so that is just so people know, youtube.com/Seán
C.
Seán C. SEANC. Gotcha.
There we go.
The letter C.
Plug.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll give you a few more before the show's over. Don't worry.
Oh, you're so kind. You're too cool to me. So I started that in my first year of college. I went to college in UL. I did digital media design. I started in my first year as a pastime hobby. I followed a lot of, I guess you could say, British YouTubers. I watched them.
So you were a Me Too kind of guy.
Yeah, I want to do it too. I can do this. It's great. Because one of my friends, he had. It was funny. One of my friends from home had a collab channel with 6 other people. 2 of them would have been in Australia, a few in America, a few in England, and him in Ireland. And the way that collab channel worked was the 7 of them had access to it, and they each uploaded a video. They had a certain day of the week.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So you get a video every day.
Yeah, so you got a video every day, but it was kind of, they were each chatting to each other, and like, say, there could have been like a week. There used to be a good few of these collab channels, so you would have had maybe 5 or 6 people would run the channel. And
the original Vlog Brothers.
The
video, back to each other every day.
Yeah, exactly. And so those collab channels will be kind of like a larger version of that. And I found it fascinating in that it was just uploading general vlogs. You could talk about your day. You could talk about something that was happening in the news. You could write a little song. You could just have the crack, basically, make a small little YouTube video.
And these people have since turned into like they're media personalities at this stage.
Yeah.
Like I would put Philip DeFranco and any of the Young Turks videos, any of those guys. They're as much a media personality to me as bring up Sharon Eviolon or someone like that, like I think more
the best comparison.
More people in Ireland know about more people in Ireland are probably familiar with Philip DeFranco or whatever YouTube is popular at the minute. I don't know whoever that guy or that girl is at the minute.
Zoella.
Is it Zoella?
Say so. I think Zoella and like Pointless Blog.
They probably know, more people in Ireland probably know her name than the person who presents the 6-1 News.
Oh, Christ, yeah. I'd say so. I even go back to Philip DeFranco. His biggest area of audience used to be Ireland. I think it was. Norway kind of tipped it out, but for a good while, one of the biggest chunk of his audience.
Interesting enough, because I was actually a viewer of Philip DeFranco a good few years ago as well. So
there you go.
This
is the thing.
Point proven.
It's I think internet celebrity in air quotes here. Culture and fame is a funny one, because you can have these people with these hundreds of thousands, millions of followers and everything, but because it's spread so globally, it can feel like they like you could have someone recognize someone in a shopping center, and they'd freak out, and their friend might be like, who the
I get you. Because it's another thing as well, that it's a very personal experience. And it's something that a lot of you'll hear a lot of content creators actually talk about.
Yes.
That it's a one-way conversation. For the
it's very
for the commenter, for the follower, it's a one-way conversation. But for the content creator, it's hundreds of thousands of voices all at once at the same time, trying to digest everything that they hear.
Oh yeah, 100%. And it's very I mean, when you make a YouTube video, you're presenting an idealized self, a version of yourself to the world. Like it's even people who do daily vlogs, like they're not gonna include arguments with their wife or husband. They're not going to include the times when they're just sitting around lounging doing nothing. So you're always presenting an idealized version of yourself on your channel, which obviously when channels and people get so big and so massive, people can sometimes forget, and they can kind of think that, oh, this person is talking directly to me, and I mean, I don't think they mean to. But a lot, like there was something recently. I follow. Have you ever heard of a YouTuber called Tom Ska?
Yes, he's. I know. I think I watched him maybe 3 or 4 years ago. He's English guy, kind of a beard, very snarky.
Yes, very good memory. Yeah. So he'd be one of the original, like the first phase YouTubers, as you were kind of calling them,
the pre-PewDiePies,
the pre-poods. I
think we just coined a term.
I think we did. It's kind of
I'll call Urban Dictionary people right about now.
Get the trademark lawyers on that. He does vlogs now, very good vlogs. Because he actually set up a company as well. I think it's him and 2 other of his friends who work together. I think it's Turbo Punch Productions is the name, but they make animations, they do sketches, and much the way Facts works, it's YouTube channels that support a company essentially.
I get you.
So, but he does one of the things he does is weekly vlogs, and they're actually very good. I was never a big person for vlogs. I often found it very just boring or kind of tough to keep up with someone's daily life or even weekly life or whatever. But then Casey's ones kind of got me back into him. And
I think I just chat Casey Neistat for just a moment. It's not so much. I don't even think does he even use the word. He uses the word vlog at the very start of every episode.
Yes.
But that's not giving them enough credit.
No.
It's
the word vlog, I guess, when you think about it.
Yeah, he's using the word vlog to tie it back to YouTube. But these are some of the most it's professional level videography. An entertaining guy. With some excellent editing. Brilliant choice of shots. He's got a really creative mind. He's doing it all by himself, as far as we know.
Yeah. He has a very strong work ethic.
They are daily movies.
Oh,
they're daily 10, 15 minute long movies, and they're all excellent, truly excellent. There's like this is the kind of guy who carries around like a 10-15 pound camera in one hand, and then in his bag he has a drone to shoot aerial shots of wherever he is to give people context.
Yeah. He's especially if you follow him for a good while, you'll get a little bit furious with him because he can be very rough and kind of he breaks a lot of stuff. Now, obviously, he's successful enough that he can.
Yeah.
But
well, it's kind of hard for me, honestly, to have any sympathy for him for when.
Oh no, I have no sympathy.
Oh,
for him.
so no, when he it's nice to know, or it's nice for him to know anyway, that whenever he hits the upload video button, he's just printed $2,000.
Oh yes,
you know,
at the least,
at the very minimum.
But I mean, whatever way he earns his money, I mean, he's working. He's part of with CNN now. They've got a company.
Sold the company to CNN.
Sold the company, and he works with other brands. He does a lot of stuff with Samsung. So I mean, in terms of money, he is fine.
So in terms of money, and I
this is one of the funny things actually. A lot of times when YouTube is brought up on more mainstream media in general, it does always come back to money. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's always really interesting to. For people to be like, oh, where does the YouTube money come from, or all that kind of thing.
Yeah, I only very recently found out where the bulk of it comes from. A lot of it's AdSense. AdSense is pennies on the dollar here.
Yeah.
I think
it's brand deals.
It's brand deals. Yeah. It really is, and it's
not just YouTube. It's the general social influence
from the internet, basically.
Yeah.
Whether it's something like this, where DCUFM is sponsored by Domino's. And
if you're looking for a beautiful pizza from Domino's, you can go.
They're actually not sponsoring this particular show, so let's not mention Domino's.
Bastards.
We love you, Domino's. If you want to sponsor us, you just hit me up on Twitter. Yeah. That's at DCUFM Power Hour.
That's at DCFUM. DCFUM.
You almost nailed it. But what is your opinion then, as somebody who obviously works for... You know, the person who's kind of savvy in the internet realm spots the branded integration that is in the videos that Facts makes. Mm-hmm. And what would be your opinion of somebody, of any channel really, selling out? And that's in serious air quotes.
Yeah. Selling out is a funny one. I think it used to be... I mean, I guess the phrase selling out pertains to anything, any I guess outlet or any group that start off small and get big and then, you know, do stuff with brands. And I mean, I think the general way of the world is that if you're going to be of any size, then you're going to need to work with advertising. You're going to need to do brand deals.
If you do anything creative,
it's
very likely, especially in this day and age where people don't want to pay for anything. People are so stingy. Good God, you couldn't sell this podcast for 4 cents on iTunes. People wouldn't buy it.
People would be picketing outside.
People would be picketing outside the station saying we want... Okay, that's not true. The 3 people that listen to this show will be picketing outside saying we want it for free. But... It used to be a much sturdier word, especially on YouTube, than it is now.
Yeah.
Especially with, again, we're going to bring up for the millionth time Casey Neistat with the Samsung deals and the boosted board deals and everything that he has in the videos. He's kind of almost desensitized people to say, well, look, this is the this is the price I'm paying for. Yeah. He's giving me something for nothing.
Yeah.
All he's asking for is my time to be entertained, and for that, he's going to mention the fact that he works for Samsung, and I'm totally okay with this.
Yeah. And I mean, look, the way I look at brand deals and sponsored content and all that type of stuff is like I think it's perfectly fine. It's part of the media and the creative world, as long as you aren't sneaky about it.
Yes, agreed.
As long as you don't I think one of the big things that happened in the UK about a year or two ago, it could have been even longer, there was something going around called the Crave Challenge. So Crave
breakfast cereal.
Yeah, Crave cereal started. And I think Oreo did something like it as well. They started like it's a YouTube tag, you know, where all these YouTubers like they were just contacting YouTubers and be like, do this challenge with our cereal. Well, it's crazy. And it went around as a tag that much bigger YouTubers than smaller YouTubers did.
A tag, if you're not familiar with YouTube, is one YouTuber would do a thing and they would say, "Hey, you should do a video very similar to what I'm doing now." So I don't know, was the Crave challenge? Was that eating as much Crave you could?
Yeah, something like that, or it would have been like a list of.
Let's pretend it was how much breakfast cereal can you eat in a minute?
How much can you shove in your mouth?
Exactly. So at the end of the video, you'd be like, "I want to see Jim and Bob and Derek and Phil
Yeah.
eat as much breakfast cereal as they can in a minute, and their links are in the description. Something like that.
Bastards, yeah. And it could have been the Crave one, or it could have been there was an Oreo one. I forget what brand exactly, but essentially they had gotten onto YouTubers, and the YouTubers had made a video being sponsored by them, but they hadn't really explicitly stated it.
Yes.
They'd been kind of like, this is just a general video.
This is a tag that's going around.
Yeah, in which I happen to be doing this. So I think the UK very sensibly brought in a law where you have to. So that's now why when you see videos, they might have like ad in brackets in the title, or they'll have spawn or hashtag spawn or whatever.
Brought to you by
yeah. This is just to indicate that it's been paid for by another company, which is I think once it's
I'm all for integrity. Honestly, this is my own personal opinion now, but I love it when people sell out. I absolutely love. Harvey Keitel is one of my favorite actors, hands down.
Yes.
He hasn't done very much kind of big work. The most notable things would be like Roads and Reservoir Dogs. The little bit.
He's doing the.
He's the cleaner. I'm getting to it. Don't steal my punchline. Okay. This is a guy who was he was the cleaner. He was Winston Wolfe in Pulp Fiction. He was Mr. Blue in Reservoir Dogs. He played a very excellent movie called he was in a movie called Bad Lieutenant, and it's an acting showcase is what it is.
Yes.
Back in the day, I don't know how much he was getting paid for it. Obviously not enough to set him up for the rest of his life. But now Mr. Harvey Keitel is doing I think it could be moneysupermarket.com ads.
Yeah.
And he rolls up the what's the music called that whatever pump whatever the hell it's called that music rolls. He knocks on the door. He's wearing a suit. He's obviously Winston Wolfe from Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
And then he drives away in a Ferrari at the end of the video. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Yeah. But I'm just happy he's getting paid.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's no fucking unless you're going around saying
it's Miser Lou is the song I'm thinking of. Yeah,
it came back to you there.
I got it.
Yeah, unless you're going around doing some hateful kind of shite. Then yeah, it's grand. You're making your own money, and if it's something, especially with YouTubers, like some of them might be something they use. Like even Casey would be talking about Canon cameras the whole time. I don't know if you're sponsored him, but
always
like I just really like Canon cameras. Thanks, Canon. And he always has to say he's not sponsored. But I think the again selling out in air quotes. I think it's kind of a silly attitude if the person you watch wants to keep doing that thing as a living. So obviously you have to understand that they're going to need to work with brands and work with advertising to keep giving you this content.
And I think the majority of people are finally coming around to that idea of, look, you can't get something for nothing.
Yeah.
I think that's really good, because just as Uber is taking over the way people move about the place, the way Airbnb is taking over the way people stay in hotels, and iTunes and however, and Spotify, good luck buying a CD nowadays. I think YouTube is doing the very same for television and movies. It would not surprise me. Look, even Netflix originals, it would not surprise me that in this, YouTube is a very young company. 10 years is nothing. It went from, like we said, funny cat videos, people falling over, to this very legitimate way that people have been making their living on YouTube for years at this stage.
Oh yeah.
So I think I'd be very remiss, or anybody would, to sell it short.
Yeah.
I think it's an incredible platform, and you say, I don't think it's like a 2 or 3 year kind of thing. I think it's maybe about 7 or 8 years. There will be they will release a Hollywood blockbuster originally on YouTube, and they will have ads on it and everything, and maybe even some branded integration, and maybe YouTube even hooks them up with some money as well. But that is where they're going to release it. I almost guarantee it.
Yeah. Or even look at the likes of Netflix, who are already
exactly.
They're already like they've. There's a movie recently. It's Bright, I think it's called. It's directed by David Ayer, stars Will Smith.
I like David Ayer actually.
Written by Max Landis. They paid $90 million for the rights to that.
Yeah.
So it's going to be exclusive to Netflix. And I mean, look, this is
so Netflix paid $90 million to buy the movie off David Ayer.
Buy the rights and everything to have them to show it. So they're going to exclusively release it there, which is fascinating, because otherwise that would be like not a smaller, kind of a relatively smaller compared to big blockbusters movie. But that would have been the type of thing that would have been a big, wide, massive cinema.
Well, you can also see that I could also see a lot of movies that would have hit things like Sundance or any of the film festivals actually going straight to Netflix as well, because Netflix seems to be... You'll never have, like, well, not yet anyway. Nowadays, you won't have the big blockbusters hitting Netflix, much like they wouldn't be hitting YouTube.
Yeah. There is discussions, though, I read recently of a service whereby people would pay $30-ish to have a movie that's, get a movie at home. The same day's release as it goes into films.
So it would be 30 a month.
Or like 30 per like movie or whatever.
Interesting.
It wasn't ironed out, but they are contemplating services that would do essentially day and date releases with cinema and home release.
Okay, well, I'm gonna ask you a question. Now I know we've just been chatting for a while. YouTube, where do you see it? Okay, first of all, where do you see it in 2 years, and where do you see it in 10 years? Because the joke always is you underestimate 2 years and you overestimate 10 years. So where do you see it in 2 years?
2 years, I honestly can't see a huge change from where it is now. I think it'll depend on the type of, I guess, technology and everything we have. I think 360 video and VR is something that's massively
definitely
on the rise. So if YouTube is on the ball, in fairness to them, they're doing really well with 360, supporting 360 video.
Yeah.
So if they're on the ball with that type of stuff, I think that could be somewhere interesting to remain. Personally, I think YouTube needs to meld with some form, like if YouTube and Twitter, let's say if Google bought Twitter and they integrated YouTube and Twitter, I think that would be how YouTube could compete with Facebook and Facebook.
How would those two? Would you mean actually integrate them, or just have them as two separate platforms that maybe integrate with each other a little bit better?
One of the biggest things about Facebook video, I think, is and one of the reasons it's growing so much is it's the shareability factor. You click a button, you can go share,
all your friends have it,
and that's all your views.
That's
all straight
interesting.
Away.
Yeah.
So YouTube doesn't.
Can I retweet a video?
Yeah, and also if you share a YouTube link on Facebook, Facebook batters that down to the very bottom of its home feed because the Facebook algorithm doesn't like YouTube links. Whereas if you upload a video natively to Facebook, it will put it to the top of its feed. So there's no YouTube share feed, so that's like stuff on YouTube obviously still goes viral and still does really well, but Facebook is kind of that's how Facebook is getting its kind of edge into
that's kind of crazy here. Just mention about how algorithms. I know they're at the stage. I should have said it to the guy. I should have said it to Eoin McConnell 2 weeks ago when I had him in chatting about AI. Let's talk about algorithms for a while.
It's a huge.
You've mentioned them multiple times at this stage. Really deciding, really, you don't decide what you want to watch anymore. The algorithms decide.
I mean, here if you get into any big massive conversation about YouTube or Twitter or Facebook or any of the kind of the way the feeds work and the way video sharing works, it's all about like how the algorithm. And I mean, I say algorithm. Algorithm is I guess a very basic layman's word to describe the entire process that goes on behind the scenes of deciding what videos are shown where and what turns up in a feed. But it is kind of it's fascinating to read about and to see what decides what you watch.
Crazy stuff. So that's in 2 years. You don't see a huge amount changing.
Not a huge amount. I see a lot more support for 360 and VR. I don't know. I can't see anything majorly different from where we are now, unless something massive happens with Google or with YouTube.
I think that must be the underestimating 2 years. So we'll see what happens.
I know.
When whatever Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is released on YouTube in 2 years. Yeah. And what about 10 years?
10 years.
It's a long time. It's a big time horizon.
Yeah. 10 years we could all be looking at
YouTube might be dead. We might all be on Vimeo.
We could all be dead as well. You never know. We won't even have screens anymore. We could have everything would be in our eyes, and we'd have like VR. We could see everything, and that could be how we do stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could see. I don't think broadcast television will be a thing anymore. I think
you don't think it'll even be a thing.
Well, I when I say not a thing, I think it will develop. Like, I don't think anyone will need a connection. Everyone will just have an internet connection, and everything will be through a hugely high-speed internet connection. And like even the way Sky have released a new service, Sky Q, I think, and the entire way you work that is it's essentially like a really robust Netflix with all your programs and all your stuff.
Okay.
So you know when different things are on, you kind of watch everything like a box set. So I can see like broadcast television programs and channels won't disappear, but the way they operate won't be like, this is a show, block of ads, this is a show. I think there'll be a day and a date when it's released.
Have you watched broadcast TV recently?
God, no, I haven't.
It's god awful.
I mean, and this is the thing. Well, I don't. So, me and my girlfriend in our apartment, we just have the PS4, and we have it. Parents have Sky at home, and we have Sky logins.
Yeah.
Log into Sky, and we have like
log into Sky through the PS4.
Yeah, you can watch like channels live and whatever. But all the stuff we watch is kind of it's either on demand or it's been saved or.
It's like I was, especially over Christmas when I was at home and we were watching whatever. Like even then, this was probably that Christmas when you're at home with your family and you're watching 6 movies a day.
Yeah.
This was probably the one where we watched the fewest broadcast movies ever.
Yeah.
Just because every 15 minutes for a TV show, and it's you get 12 minutes a show, and then JML's trying to stuff shit down your throat for the next 4 minutes.
Damn,
couldn't deal with it.
Yeah. No, it's yeah, and that's the funny thing, especially because I mean, even whenever Sky Plus and all like recording came in.
Revolutionary.
Even then you're like, oh, I don't need to. I'll just record a program and skip through the ads. You know, it's one of those things where kind of like I imagine advertisers would be like, well, what's the point in paying for ads if they're either skipped through or like no one watches them? You know, so I think everything's going to become subscription service based.
So you think YouTube is going to, or you think broadcast television? You don't think it's going to be? You think it's going to continue to decline?
I wouldn't say decline. I'd say evolve. I'd say it's going to evolve into.
It'll have to start picking up Netflix. Will there be a Netflix channel?
Netflix is going to be Netflix in 10 years is going to be, I'd say, as powerful as like a big massive.
Yeah, it's going to be a Viacom,
if not the
or
biggest,
20th Century Fox.
Yeah. I mean, the money they already have is insane. But like as I said about subscription services and all that. I mean, you have YouTube Red as well, which is something they're trying to start out where you pay 10
a month,
10 a month, and you don't see YouTube ads, and you can save videos for.
I was actually considering getting that because not only do you get your YouTube Red and your ad-free stuff,
music as well.
you get like I already pay a $10 a month for Spotify.
Same, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. If you get all of Google Play Music, which is essentially just Google Spotify,
and I get my YouTube Red.
Yeah,
I think the only thing it's not actually out in Ireland yet. I don't
no,
think
it's
you
not.
Get it. That's the only thing.
But yeah, once it changes, I think it'll be worth it. But I mean, and again, you look at cinemas these days, like Cineworld and Odeon, where you pay 20 quid a month and you can go see whatever movie.
Yes.
Everything is turning kind of subscription based because I think people are happier to pay for that type of stuff. I think
that's where car payments come from. I don't think people like to play lump sums. I think they're more than happy to pay a little bit every month as opposed to getting.
So people don't like paying the TV license as well.
I think people just avoid that. That's a funny one.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? The TV licenses, actually, you have to have a TV license, and I think the wording in the law is literally any device that streams anything.
Yeah.
If you have a phone that's big enough, I think you have to buy a TV license.
I think just if you have a phone at this stage, like if you have a phone and a Wi-Fi connection, TV license.
Yeah, TV license.
You're like, I don't watch RT ever.
Okay, listen, thank you very much, Sean, for coming on. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thanks, man. Great. Brilliant.
Really good fun. That's youtube.com/Sean Sean, the letter C.
Yes.
And
youtube.com/facts, FACTS. That's where I work as well. So yeah, check those.
Will you get a nice little bonus for pimping the employer?
I am.
Hopefully.
Every time we're going, that's youtube.com/facts. But yeah, so check those out if you like.
I can attest for both of those. Actually, I found Sean's personal channel really good fun, and especially I really enjoyed my two favorite videos on facts. Just look up facts, and then if you even put in MMA, I'm sure you'll find
if you type in Irish people.
Yes, you'll probably if you put Irish people into YouTube or Google, you'll probably find the channel.
Yeah, they'll be right.
It's really good stuff, really entertaining kind of stuff, and look, really interesting conversation. Thanks a million for coming on.
It's been great. Thanks a million.
Thanks very much. That's been the Power Hour this week. I'll be perfectly honest with you, I've absolutely no idea who I'm going to ask to come in next week. I've nobody organised. Normally I have 2 or 3 weeks in advance, and I just have nothing. So we're just going to see how it's going to go, if it's going to go at all. Thank you very much for listening. Don't forget you can find the Power Hour on Twitter at DCUFM Power Hour. YouTube, same thing. SoundCloud.com/DCUFM Power Hour. You can find all of the shows there on demand, and you can download them as well. They're all on iTunes as well. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you next week, hopefully.
The system broken, the school's closed, the prison's open. We ain't got nothing to lose, everybody we roll.